James Carpenter with Country Living. Welcome to my channel and thank you for watching my videos. Okay, let's get to work. Alright, we're going to take the cover off the panel box. And there was some old wiring that went to the AC condenser. We're going to take that out and take the breaker out. The breaker has to be replaced with a 60 amp breaker for the Tesla charger. This cover hasn't been off in a lot of years. Alright. There it is. The panel box, 200 amps. Okay, we're gonna take a knockout out of this box. It's a 1 inch. Alright, now if you notice, the knockouts on this box are spread out differently, but the only way I could mount this box, I would have liked to have mounted it flush, but obviously it had a bunch of 1/2 inch holes in the back of it, so that wasn't working out. It had that 1 inch hole that I'm using now, and there in the front below my hand is a 1 inch hole and a 3/4 inch hole. So I had to mount the box the way I did out of necessity, plus it fit between the metal better. I'm going to tighten that ring up a little bit, get that box a little more stable. You can tighten that with channel locks, but I didn't have any channel locks, so I'm tapping it with the screwdriver. Either one works. Just want to get it good and tight. Okay. Alright, I didn't have a 6 inch level. I had to level this by eye, but I think I did a pretty good job. It's not that I don't have one, I just didn't have one at the moment. Now, that's one of them metal brackets I've been using for hurricane straps. I'm going to put one of those under it to make like a shelf for the box to set on. It's going to give it more stability should somebody bump into it or something along those lines. So basically what we'll have is 3.5 screws that go in through the metal, and there's a board on the other side of the metal mounted to the studs. So their screws are going into a piece of wood. Do some final adjustments on the eye type level here. Alright, looks like we're getting satisfied with it. Maybe just a little bit of fine tuning. I'm drilling through that metal first because the deck screws they don't go through the metal so easily like a metal self-tapping screw would. So we got 3 screws attaching the bracket to the building. So now I'm going to put a self-tapper. I pre-drilled it, and there's a self-tapper coming through now. And that's going to tie that box down to the bracket. So that made that pretty rigid. I feel comfortable that if somebody were to bump it, it's not going to bend or break. So here we got some 3/4 inch thin wall conduit. I'm going to bend a couple offsets in that conduit so that it will line up with the box and then line up with the Tesla charger on the other end. Okay, so that's called an offset. Now we're going to bend an offset on the other end of the pipe. One of the offsets will go into that box we just mounted, and the other one will go into the box that we're going to put the Tesla charger in. Back there in the back, you see that lumber stacked up? We're going to be using that on the walls on the inside of the Tesla garage. Alright, so that's a 3/4 inch knockout there. Looks like I gotta take the glove off. Just not getting a good enough feel to get that to start. There we go. Woke up this morning to a pretty good dusting of snow. I went out with the leaf blower, backpack blower, and blew all the snow off the construction area. Okay, we got that in there nice and tight. So we're putting the EMT 3/4 inch conduit in. Gonna tighten up the holding screw. Alright, get my helper here to hold that while I level that pipe. Guess I want to make a mark so that I can maintain that level. Now we're going to put some straps on it to secure it to the building. This first one I drilled, I subsequently found out that's not necessary. Now here we're just going to use a self-tapping screw. It didn't quite tighten down as well as I'd like it to. I think when I pre-drilled that hole, I caused it to strip a little bit. So here we're just going to use the self-tapping screw right into the metal. Worked much better. We're going to feed the 6 gauge stranded wire into the 3/4 inch pipe, and from there we'll come into that box we just mounted, and we'll go through the wall into the back of the panel box. So the 2 reds are hot for a 220 lead. The green is the ground or neutral, whichever way you want to call it. Green's out.
Green's out. Green one's out.
We're also going to come through that same 1-inch pipe that goes through the building into the panel box with some 12 gauge wires so we can run a couple LED lights and some couple receptacles.
First one is the plane, leads with the plug set.
Good morning, everyone. It's a nice, bright, sunshiny day compared to yesterday. Yesterday, the wind was blowing so heavy we couldn't do anything outside. Today, Chad and William are taking a day off. So Jimmy and I, he's going to be my cameraman. We're going to go ahead and get the Tesla charger installed. So that's what the video will be primarily on. I'm going to start by showing you around. In some of the previous videos, you've seen the electric where we had started to put the electric in. First of all, Tesla gives a very nice presentation with their box. It's not only a beautiful box, but it's got all these different languages here where he thanks everybody, which is pretty cool. So that's the Tesla unit in the box. Now we took the liberty to create our own box. This is a rigid toolbox. It's a plastic toolbox. We picked it up at Home Depot. We got the 6-gauge wire inside ready to go. We basically used a conduit connector. I think you can see it right here, to attach the conduit to the plastic box, so all that's secure. And then the conduit runs down the side of the building, and it runs over to this 4-square box on steroids that goes through the wall of the old building into the back side of the panel box, and that's where our 6-gauge wire is right now. It's in there ready to be hooked up to a 60-amp breaker. Now off to the side here, we're going to run some 110 on a 20-amp breaker, 12-gauge wire, and that's going to control the garage door opener. And we'll branch off from that box up there with more conduit for the lighting and the garage door opener. And we'll put a couple receptacles in here. We're not going to go overboard on the electric in this garage because this is just a Tesla garage. I mean, if he's got somewhere to plug in a shop and vac, he'll be happy. But this garage will be nothing but a Tesla garage. And if you've been watching the build series, you can see now we've got all the metal on. So let's get started with installing the Tesla charger. Okay, so there's a plug in the bottom. We're going to run our service from the bottom up. So we took the plug out. We had to drill 2 holes for these screws to go through. And now we're going to mount the base into this box. Now they did give us a bit, this bit right here. It's pretty cool. They even made it a swivel bit. See how it's rounded? I put the extension on it to make it easier to get in here and do this. So I'm pretty much going to center this in the box and screw it down. I think I'll pre-drill it first. There we go. Let's try this again. Okay, that's good. That's only one screw. I'm actually going to put the charger back in there and make sure the alignment's going to be good. Okay, that doesn't look too bad. Might be a little tight at the top, but that's in our favor. All right, we're gonna drill one more hole. Get that bottom screw in. Okay, that's in there nice and secure. Okay, so we got us a rough estimate on how much wire we need. We're going to cut the excess off. Alright, we did purchase a little bit too much wire here, but better to be safe than sorry. So I'm going to strip these back probably about a ½ inch. Go ahead and cut it. Okay, so those two are hot leads. The green wire is your ground or neutral, whichever way you want to call it. Got all the wires stripped back. Oh, looks like about, well, actually about an inch. Might be a bit much, but I want to ensure we get contact. All right, I'm going to put these through there one at a time. They're a little bit difficult with 3 of them. Okay. So we need to come up into here. It's probably pretty dark in there for you guys on camera land. I'm gonna go ahead and snug that one down while I got it in place. Make sure we got a good connection, nice and tight. Probably using this impact's a little bit overkill, but it gets it done pretty quick. All right, so that's one of the hots. Let's run the other hot. Alright, that looks pretty good. Now this is copper wire. If it was aluminum, you'd have to use a special electrical grease on there. But personally, I do not work with aluminum wire. Everything I do is in copper. Alright, so let's see if we can get that neutral to go up in there. Didn't want that. I need all them little wires to stay in place. Okay, we did get it in there. Everything's nice and tight. Wiring's all kind of tucked in. I might put a zip tie around that to hold it back a little bit. Okay, so one last look at the wires. I did put a wire tie down here. Now it looks like the Tesla charger basically has these metal electrodes that are gonna tap into here and here and here, and then all we gotta do is add the 60 amp breaker and tie it in at the panel box. Okay, now we've got some grommets we got to put in there. Get this cord here out of the way. Let me figure out a place to put this. But yeah, I don't want to move. Okay, so there it is. The Tesla charger is mounted inside the box that we thought would be a good idea, just to keep dirt off of it and keep it in a safe environment. So that's of our own doing there. Now, I didn't film it, but when you put that white cover back onto the base, there's 4 screws that have to go in there. And because we mounted it inside this toolbox, it was almost near impossible to get to those 4 screws. So, since we're automotive, I went and got some of those plastic push grommets and pushed 4 of those in there, and that held it on there. Probably not as good as the metal screws, but I think it's going to work. We got the cord wrapped up nice and neat, and everything looks good in there. Now we're going to run to Home Depot and get a 60 amp breaker. So there's your Tesla charger, and there's the case that it goes in. Through here. Okay, so we got the 60 amp breaker. We just got back from Home Depot. We're going to install the 60 amp breaker, see if we can get the Wi-Fi to fire up on the Tesla charger, connect to the Wi-Fi that's in the shop here. Okay, so we're going to take those 2 hot leads. We're going to run them into the breaker. And then we're going to tighten them down real tight. Give it a good pull. Make sure everything's good. Get the other one in there. If you're curious, these are what they call square D breakers. It's the Homeline version. As you can hear that squeaking, I'm getting her pretty tight. All right, so now I gotta get the breaker into the box. Got some other junk in the way here. I'm going to be straightening some of this out once I hook up the 220. I mean the 110. I'll tell you what we're going to do. It's probably make everybody feel better if I did this. We're going to kill the main breaker. The last thing I want to do is get fried. All right, hold the flashlight for me, son. All right, so we're gonna okay, it's pretty tight quarters working in this panel box. We've got this on one side, we got this on the other side, and by the time I squeeze between the two, my cameraman really can't get in here and do anything. But if you look, the green wire right here is hooked up to the neutral bar, and we struggle with that breaker a little bit. But here we have the 60 amp breaker and those two red wires to give it the 220 that we need. So now we're going to turn the main breaker back on. And we're going to turn on the Tesla charger. And we're going to go out here and see if it lights up or does something for us. I better be getting edited out. Should be a green light on in here. Yep, there it is. All right, so there we go. We got a green light. So now it's up to my son to see if he can get the Wi-Fi part of this working. But the Tesla was due to come in Tuesday. I think I mentioned that earlier, but they just sent an email or a text saying that it's going to be delayed a little bit. Could be. So I don't know what's going on there, but it looks like the little green light's pulsating a little bit dimmer and brighter. Not sure what that's all about. Maybe it's doing an update, who knows. Okay, so that's our Tesla charger hookup. I hope you enjoyed the video. Thank you for watching and have a great day.